You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging out with you guys. And today we've got a returning guest interview. We have none other than Kyle Parks over there in Maryland. Kyle, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
It's me. How y'all doing?
I don't think anybody's ever opened up a podcast with the "It's me, Mario," you know. So
you gotta have fun with it, man. We're all out here grinding. We are sweating our butts off. Probably. I mean, it's middle of summer. I mean, I know I'm out there. I'm sweating my bald cap off, as I like to say, for fun.
Yep.
But I mean, you gotta have some energy, man. I know I'm going through a bit of a burnout, and I know a lot of these guys are. So gotta have fun with them for a little. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I got not only the season burnout. I was doing a podcast the other day, and I'm like, I feel like I have a spring rush burnout, and I'm already pacing, But then it's like the dog days of summer, right? All that kind of stuff, and then frankly, like even like me doing YouTube videos, I'm like, it's hot. We're mowing grass. We're laying stripes. I don't know what else you guys want me to put on YouTube right now, other than mowing tall grass. So I'm just having fun there. But it's kind of burnout all the way around. I can't wait to hit the pools, hit the beach, kind of relax a little bit, and try to enjoy a little bit of the summer. I think we're finally getting close to being over the hump. Or are you guys kind of at that point where things kind of plateau and level out, or where are you guys at all that?
So things are starting to slowly level out between myself and a buddy of mine up in Timonium. I mean, I'm still at least 4 weeks booked out. So I'm just crushing it right now. But I'm actually able to slowly open up the schedule a little bit to say, okay, I want this Monday and Tuesday off just to kind of go through everything.
Sure.
The trailer, the truck. I mean, this weekend I did an oil change on the truck, and I made a bit of a boo boo. I took the oil filter off. And I'm like, oh, it's in a plastic bag. Perfect. And I had this box that was sitting in my cab, and I threw it in the box real quick. Well, apparently there were pinholes in the bag.
Ooh.
So I am leaking diesel oil all over the freaking truck. So it's all over thank God it was vinyl flooring, so I didn't give a crap.
Wow.
Like, I just go in there, purple prowler, spray it down. It was all good. But,
wow.
Just being able to actually do maintenance, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can sit back, do what I need to do. But unfortunately, like I said, 95, doing that, oil change, it wasn't my smartest of ideas.
Well, you guys have been dealing with a heat wave. We've been dealing with rain. Weather's been just...
You send it my way?
I'm trying to. Well, if you want the weather to change, man, you're talking to the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? You gotta talk to the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But put on the tinfoil hats. But I'm just being serious. But anyway, so hey, really quick, we got to back up the ship because not everybody knows you. It's been a year since we've had you on the show, or maybe at least 6 months, maybe sometime in the fall. But not everybody knows you how I know you, and we've got to catch up on coaching calls at live events. Nick Carlson's Mulch Mate kind of premiere thing that he did last summer, fall, whatever that was, or whenever that was. So let's back up the car. Can you just give me like a minute snapshot of who you are, where you're at, what you got going on, and then you and I will just kick it for a little bit.
Sure thing, man. So I started probably like everybody else, just in high school doing my thing. I mowed grandma's lawn for a little bit, and then grandma's lawn turned a couple people in the neighborhood, and then slowly expanded from there. And, I thought I was top shit for a little bit there. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're going. We're doing amazing here. And, wasn't quite where I thought I was. And I want to say 2 years ago, when it was LEO 19, right?
Sure.
Right about then is where I really started putting things together. So, run Scarlett Landscaping here in Ithaca, Maryland. We're from Ithaca down to about Annapolis. So about a 20-mile stretch. I don't have very good route density, but it's on purpose because we do have some very select, very amazing clients that we work with. Always pay on time. They pay big bucks for it. So, hey, you're paying my bills. I'm all good.
That's fair.
But no, we're doing amazing right now. I think we've doubled the business from last year to this year so far. And we're out there killing it. It was myself and my fiance for a while. She has actually gotten a full-time job now. We're trying to hopefully get into a home either the end of this year, early next year. Fingers crossed it all happens, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, it's been a treat to see you grow over the last maybe 3 years I've known you, at least 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
I say it's been at least 2, and I'm getting to know so many of you guys through social media, obviously, and so many of you I Instagram, DM back and forth, and it's always fun putting a name. What is it, a face to the name or a name to the face, whatever the saying is, at GIE or at our live event or the other live events that are out there in the industry and in the community. But you were actually at our inaugural Launchpreneur Academy Live 2 years ago, and you guys made the trek out again last year, which was crazy and fun. So kind of we've been able to develop this friendship here, and we've actually been trying to lock down this podcast for 2 or 3 weeks now, but we're both going 100 miles an hour.
At least.
That's always the fun part. When you guys are busy, I'm busy. When you have free time, I have free time. Like, if you have a rain day and I have a rain day, I'm like, hey, let's jump on the podcast. So today, I actually got rained out. You guys kind of got, what you say, burned out? Like it's 95 and miserable.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was 3 o'clock and I'm like, all right, got a headache, time to head home.
I don't blame you. Like heat stress is no joke. You guys are down in the South are probably laughing and chuckling because you guys deal with 100 degrees real feels all the time. But for us up here in Michigan and the Northeast and the Midwest, like anything over 90, 95, we're sweating bullets. And like you said, when you start getting that nausea or head fatigue or a headache, that's a good sign that you might have some heat stress. So take some time out, air condition, get some waters, all that fun stuff. And if the schedule permits, hey, push some stuff to the next day. I mean, that's totally fine and totally fair game. We got to pace, not just a sprint, but it's a marathon, right? So we talked about that here recently. So, hey, let's do this really quick. Cal, as you know, you listen to the show, we got bills to pay. We got to keep the lights on here, man. Nothing's free, nothing's cheap. And so we want to make sure that we can keep affording that beautiful Essentia water. So we're going to hear from today's show sponsors, and then we're going to come right on back.
You know the name Equipment Defender. Now experience the safety and security for your lawn care setup with Equipment Defender trailer racks. These lockable trailer racks are designed to keep your equipment organized and secure without breaking the bank. Upgrade your setup and protect your investment with trailer racks that fit any style of trailer, both utility or enclosed. These E-coated racks are built tough to withstand the elements, all while working hard to keep your equipment safe and secure. Put an end to unnecessary equipment damage and theft today by investing in quality trailer racks that you can rely on. Use the promo code BRYANS10 to save 10% on all orders today at equipmentdefender.com, and a link is provided in the show description. Equipment Defender.
This is the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast, broadcasting all around the world. So somebody must like it. Now, here is your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. Returning guest. Cal, have you been on the show once, twice, or where are you at on the count? Is this 2 or 3?
I think this is number 3. The first one, like I said, I felt like it was a dud, and I had my redemption episode with Nick, and then now.
Yeah, okay. I think that's true. Hey, we got to catch up at Nick Carlson's live premiere of his what was it? Trailer Mate
It was Cartmate RS, which was technically the showstopper, but then he went into the DMT trailer, which I have heard has had amazing results for them, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the dump trailer with also like a trailer rack on the front. It's crazy cool. They've been selling like hotcakes. So we got to catch up there. Everybody was over from Maryland area, about an hour around. A lot of people came in. That was like at the prime of like the pandemic, man, and people freaking out and masks everywhere. And I won't say this for Nick, just for the CYA, but I don't think there's anybody. I don't think there's anybody wearing a mask the whole time. It felt amazing, and
it was outside. It's all good. I'll tag them up.
That's right. It was outside. It was an outside event, right? So it was nice getting a little taste of freedom over there because we were at the height of the lockdowns over here in Michigan. But so let's add a little bit more context to your story, man, and I'd love to get some updates. Over the last 6 to 12 months since we had you on the show. Why don't you get these guys up to speed if they didn't hear those first 2 episodes? episodes. Like you said, maybe go into a minute or two about your background, your story, and then what's the biggest difference between last year, maybe this same time last year compared to this year?
Yeah, sure thing. So, honestly, like I said, I started off as, the guy that's, started with grandma's lawn, a couple of people around grandma. And the reason it was pretty much grandma's because the street that I'm on, there's I guess you could say like a 2-lane highway that I have to cross to get over to where there's a fairly decent population of people.
Okay.
And it wasn't too bad. So I would walk over after school from, I would say maybe 7th grade on, and did my grandmother's lawn. She had, the push mower in the yard or in her shed. I went over there, cut it with myself and my buddy. And I've got a fun couple of stories over there. One time we went over and it was just about to pour down rain. I'm like, Matt, we can do it. We can make it. We can do it. We didn't make it or do it. So we're in the middle of the backyard and I've got an umbrella over him and an umbrella over me in a cattle prod lightning storm. So I'm like, well, if we get arced, we get arced. So, we had a good old time, but, that kind of led into our little story of K&M, which was, Matt and Kyle Landscaping. We wanted to grow it to this, massive grand business, which was our plan. And then unfortunately things happened on his end, which completely understood. We had some rebranding to Scarlett Oak. And it has since then just become my baby. It's a part of my life that I associate very largely with. And it's kind of gone from there. So started off in a 1986 Silverado pickup, just throwing the mowers in the back of that. And then, fortunately, Chloe's mother, she wanted to start the business. So she helped us out with acquiring a trailer, and I paid half of it. She paid for half of it.
Okay.
And with the agreement, she said, pay off the other half essentially by mowing the lawn over at their house. I said, no worries, you got it. And that's how it kind of went for a while. So had that. I eventually got into my own, my Ram 2500, 2001. It was literally it was a gas guzzler and it was a pig and it couldn't get out of its own way to save its life, but it did its job. I'll say that it did its job. It was an amazing truck. So, kind of progressing a little further forward last year, we finally got our first enclosed trailer after, LAL 2019, I believe it was. So this is the 2020 season we're talking about, and kind of pushed and got a nice commercial mower after one of our coaching calls, which was a blessing. It made a lot of the smaller gated backyards, or larger gated backyards, I should say, because for some reason in this area, a lot of people just like having a 36-inch gate. I don't know why. They don't want a double wide or anything like that around here. So ended up getting the 36 right. Love that thing. I put probably 150 hours on it myself. And granted, we didn't mow 20, 30 lawns a week type thing. A day. We did 20, 30 in a week. So it's not like we were putting a massive amount of hours on the mower. And I eventually got I guess you could say a residential sit down hustler, which did its job. Same thing. It for some reason always kept clumping the grass up onto the deck. So I have to either slam the deck with the foot pedal so that it would drop the grass. But when it would do that, it would go spit in large chunks all over the yard. You're like, man, I got to blow that out now. So
that's
this
awesome.
year we made a lot of say again?
I would say that's awesome. I'm listening.
Yeah. So this year, I don't know what it was. I think it was just a mindset thing. I took some time late last year after the Mulchmate event and went over to Nick's, and Nick and I, he's a very humble man, and I love it about him, but I got to give credit where credit is due. And Nick slapped me around and said, hey, look, this is how you're being, this is how you need to be. And it changed something in the way I thought about things within business and life and other things. We talk to this day. I go over there and visit them, say, hey, what's going on, guys, for a little bit. And, I've gotten a pizza and we just chat on a rainy day or something like that. Just like I pick his brain, kind of like you and Bedell. You'd say, hey, steak dinner, and you guys would go out. I would go in, get the guys pizza. I'd chat with, Sammy and some of the guys there. And we've grown into having this really good relationship, and I enjoy talking with the guys. But Nick he changed my mindset. And coming into 2021 this year, after visiting with my buddy Ben, he's got a Ford F550 dump truck. I'm like, man, this would be so sweet if I could have something like this. And it's not like I needed it, but having a setup very similar, I had this weird gut feeling where I'm like, this could propel me forward. And it could propel me forward in ways that I don't think I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say February, March-ish. No, sorry. Late January, early February. Ben and I went out looking. It was like, let's just go see what we can find out on the market right now. And I was going to see if I could find a used truck. Nothing used really was good on the market that I could trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out to a buddy of mine that worked at a local dealership. I'm like, hey, what do you guys got on the lot? Looked at a couple of things, and they came up with this number for a truck. And I'm like, holy crap, I hit a freaking jackpot.
Mm.
And the F450, $58,000. I'm like, what? And I'm just freaking out. I'm like, so I go over to Nick, and Nick's like, dude, that is an amazing deal. Jump on it. And went over. We went for all the the financing options and everything, and everything was declined. I'm like, my credit is not that bad. I know that, but everything was declined. I'm like, all right, well, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
So they responded and go, look, I have one other lender we can talk with. We have really good relationships with them, and I've got a good feeling essentially. And he goes, I'll talk with them. Their office doesn't open until whatever time it was. We're East Coast. They were, I think, Central, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So go through with all that, and the guy calls back and goes, hey, we got you approved for $74,000 with a $10,000 down payment. I'm like, whoa. That's like $30,000 over what I was thinking.
Wow.
So I come home. I'm like, man, I was butthurt. So I came home and just played on Auto Trader for a little bit. And Eureka. I found something really good. So I call the dealer. I'm like, hey, what is the numbers? Like, what are the actual numbers on this? And it was a used 2019 3500 dump truck. I'm like, it was perfect. And it had a plow on it. I'm like, if I can get this for the financing and the numbers at, sold.
Okay.
So went over, we took a look at it, and I couldn't make the financing work on the truck that I was looking at, which is a used truck. But they're like, we can do it on a new one.
Okay.
Like, wait, what? So they made the financing work on a new one, and on top of that, put the plow under the financing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they just lumped it all together.
Now we have, exactly. So now we have the 3500 Cummins dump truck, single cab with a 9-foot Western plow.
Wow. So now you're rocking
all under my financing.
So you're doing the plow and this new dump truck. And did you guys do snow too, or did you get into snow this last winter, or were you always into it?
So I did some residential stuff. I don't want to say I was like really heavy into it. Maybe like 6 or 7 of our fairly loyal clients that are just older that don't have the ability to get out in time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'll make some bonus money this year essentially. And luckily this year was our first year where I didn't have to worry one iota about money coming in over the winter because I had the money set aside from the year. So I'm like, that's
always
amazing.
Nice. Not to cut you off, but I'm going to say that's always nice and always helpful. And having that winter fund, if you need to have 10, 20, 30 grand in the bank, whatever it is, $5,000 in the bank,
Exactly. And it felt amazing. And it's weird. It did something to my psyche. Just like, wow, you can breathe this winter. You don't have to worry about much. I mean, granted, it's not like I could go out on like 7 cruises, but I was able to enjoy my time over winter with, doing whatever I wanted essentially.
Well, that's always helpful. I was going to say that's always helpful when people are, calling you up at 2 a.m. asking to plow snow. And you're like, do I want to go out and make $50, $60 to, do this driveway, or $100 to do the driveway, or do I want to get done early? Let me see, and sometimes in the winter, I'm more ambitious and we'll go do 10 extra driveways. And other times I'm like, you know what, we're done. We've already been out here for 8 hours. It's, -4, I'm freezing and I'm just done. I want to go home. I'm a real person like you guys,
Exactly. And luckily this winter, a buddy of mine in Baltimore, Ben Ken, my phone calls it Ken and it drives me nuts, and I know it's Keen. But Ben Keen, he he has a couple properties up in Baltimore County, and he's like, hey, I've got, I think it was 3 or 4 that we had to do consistently to go back to. And we had 1 or 2 snowstorms where it snowed all day. First section was slush. Second part of it was just full on snow. And then there was another back section that was slush that all eventually iced over.
Okay.
So I went up and helped him out with a church, which is one of his larger properties. I could get some plow time in on that. Helped him out on his bank that he had, which is a smaller parking lot. And I didn't notice this at the time, but I went to go in reverse and I had a backup camera, but it was iced over. I couldn't see out of it. So I'm backing up and I came right over the speed bump.
Oh, nice.
Sorry about that. And, you might want to hit pause for like 2 seconds. Hang on.
No, we're good. We're just keep it rolling, man.
Yeah, I know. Caleb Ballman right there.
I was messaging. I literally texted him today. I said, "Hey, great podcast today." I said, "This is the first one where I didn't hear you hacking up a storm," because he was getting over a cough, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you got the Rona?" And he's like, "We don't talk about that around here." Like, I don't. He won't admit. he won't confirm or deny, but he had 2 weeks of hacking, and I'm like, dude, there's a mute button on your podcast board, and maybe if you guys are listening in and you're newer to the show, we're talking about Caleb and Brittany Allman, more so Caleb Allman, because Brittany's like, hey, this train wreck is all yours, and I'm just having fun. That's what Caleb says. But they have the Kid Contractor podcast, and it's all about hardscaping, landscaping. Really, really, really good show. But telling you what, man, the last 2 weeks, every 10 seconds, and God bless Caleb, he did his best to keep the show going, but so anyway, which way, little detour there. Hey, let me ask you this. I don't know where we were in this rabbit hole, but let me, I want to take you back to True North here really quick on a question that I think could help the people listening in is you said you doubled your business from last year to this year, or basically in the last 12, 18 months. Any practical tips or anything that you can see why you did that or how that happened? Any couple good accounts, more route density, anything in particular that these guys that are listening in can learn from?
So like I said earlier, my route extends from my local area, Lincecum, down to Annapolis. So it's about 15, 25 miles radius essentially from where I am down to there.
Okay.
We don't go anywhere north or anything like that. So I don't have a very strong route density, but with the route that I have, I'm still doing solo between $500 and $1,000 a day in mowing.
Sure.
And then everything else, landscaping wise, we have pretty much been able to bring in another $500 to $1,000 a day. But I think the biggest, I'm going to say there's 2 big things. One was mindset, right? And it kind of dials back to, I can't remember the person that said it, but, and I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but is if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you are right.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good one.
And I really believe in that because I'll put it to you this way. Chloe, when she was going for her job, she was very nervous on it, and she felt like she wasn't going to get the job, and she did. I say this very proud of her, but she kept putting in her mindset that she can't do it. She can't do it. And she made a boo-boo here and there. But as soon as I got behind her or Nick got behind her and said, look, we know you can do it, just having something or having someone tell you that you can and just kind of give you that extra kick in the butt, where it does something, and it's very significant. And I think the mindset of, I can go out there and rent X equipment and use it for X amount of time and make X amount of money. Well, why am I not doing this job? Mm-hmm. So I'll put it simply put. I had a job earlier this year, it was a bamboo job. It was very large. So it was, I think if I remember correctly, it was about 20,000 square feet. We were just hacking down bamboo, and I had to rent a piece of equipment with a brush cutter on it. I'm like, I have never used a skid steer. I don't know how to use a skid steer. I haven't had time in it. So we ended up getting a older Bobcat. So it was the push-pull handles versus the, I guess you'd say the ISO type electronic. I don't know all the terminology off the top of my head.
Sure.
But it had foot levers for the bucket, and then it had your handles would steer you kind of like a boat.
Okay.
And then I'm like, man, this is a lot of fun. Granted, I was a little worn out because of that type of unit. But then the next time when we had to go back and clear all the bamboo to the backside of the property with buckets and stuff like that, I was able to hop into them with them being the ISO controls and everything like that. I was able to hop into it with confidence because I'm like, I know I can operate this piece of equipment, learn very quickly, and have no problem. So I was in we had like the Kuchi R9s or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the units that we had maybe, say, 10 hours in on the first day, just trying to move all the bamboo to the back. We came back the next day for a couple extra hours because we ran out of fuel. So I had to go out and get a couple containers for them, fill them up next day. And I mean, I had confidence. I put my mindset to something that I didn't think I could do 2 years ago to doing something today. It's like I reached out to a buddy of mine. Actually, it was Ben. I was thinking about it. I reached out to him. I was like, dude, I cannot believe where I am right now compared to last year. Like if you told me that last year, that this year I would have the truck that I have, the equipment that I have, and I'm doing the jobs that I've been doing, I would tell you you're full of yourself. Yeah, especially after going through the pandemic and just how things went from there and how people held their money in the beginning. I'm just like, I never would have thought I would be where I am today. And it's a big mindset thing. I'd say the other thing was to just become a little more structured. And the biggest thing that I mean by that is wake up by, say, 6, 7 o'clock. Get the mower blades on by 8. Try to be home, between 3 and 5. Whatever your route allows you, try to be home between those times. Have time for the family. Have time for friends. Just have time to be able to have the different parts of your social life that you need outside of work. And work is going to slowly fall into place behind it. And I found that very weird. And it seems kind of counterintuitive. If you focus on other things, then that'll get better. But it's worked for me. Is putting time forward for Chloe has helped me focus better on the business when I'm in it. Focusing time to go out on the boat with family and have, time with them has helped me be able to just put a little more focus when I'm in it into the business.
Sure.
So delineating the time and being more structured with how your life goes has also really helped.
Well, those are very, very, very good tips. And I got to take it back to a little throwback to Launchpreneur Academy 2019, because Josh Latimer did a really, really good talk. I don't know if you remember that one, but he said there's 3 key components to a successful business and life, and it was belief, desire, and systems. And yet here you are 24 months later, doubling your business, and your 2 biggest takeaways were belief, and then you called it structure. We could call that systems. And you are a very hungry person, like the desire. You've had the desire to grow, you're motivated, you're self-motivated, right? So that's inspiration. So isn't it funny that you're basically singing the same tune as a guy who did a speech 2 years ago, and whether you know it or you didn't know it, you've kind of went on that parallel path of doing what he recommended. So, and lo and behold, 24 months later, your business has doubled. Did you put those connect the dots there or no?
And now that you speak about it, it's funny because I have notebooks from last year and 2019, and I remember taking the 3 things from Latimer and putting them in the book, and I remember reading them, but I don't remember actually just putting my, I guess you could say, pen to paper and ending up applying it directly. It was more or less an indirect thing, and it was something that was, I guess you'd say, kind of floating in my unconscious, if you want to go
Well,
down the Keith Kelfus route kind of thing. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I mean,
but it's just one of those things that like you hear it and it hits you, but it hits you on a different level versus it being, direct.
Well, and that's what the Think and Grow Rich and another book that's a classic out there. If you guys have never read that book, I suggest picking it up. Another book is called Master Key to Riches, and it talks about the mastermind principle. You could also call it like the law of association, right? And so you're hanging out with this mastermind group, even though it's a live event. It's still going in. It's still going in. You're still associating, and so through that event, and then all these conversations that you've had from then till now. To me, it sounds like you have desire, you have belief, you have structure, you have association, from Nick to the live event to podcasting and all the spheres of influence around you that you've were just alluding to that have been a positive influence in your life. And in 24 months later, you're growing, man. And so it's fun for me because I'm just a few years older than you and just a little bit bigger perspective. It's not a better than you or anything like that kind of a thing. It's just, dude, I'm 5 or 10 years older. And I'm just noticing these really cool success principles working in your life, man. And I don't know. I just have this really cool out of body experience right now. I'm really, really excited for you. Genuinely excited for you.
Today's podcast continues right after a short break.
Ratings and reviews. Each week, we take a minute to highlight your guys' reviews of the show.
What do you say we get this party started? Our first review is from Mike with Oklahoma Mowing Company. I could not be more thankful for the time that Brian and Mr. Producer take to put together such an incredible show, full of knowledge, experience, and best of all, sharing the lessons they've learned the hard way so the rest of us can learn from their mistakes. We do not take for granted what you do for our industry. Appreciate that, Mike. Southernscape Lawn Care is writing a review based off of episode 203. Just a couple of episodes back, the one where Brian and Liz have that very honest conversation about their relationship being on the rocks and all the hard work and effort they had to put into it to get it to where it is today. They go on to comment, this was refreshing to hear that people are actually people and go through struggles. Thank you also to the Almonds for being so open. Keep up the great work. We are listening and learning daily. From Big Ass Daddy. Whoa, slow down, Marty. This is why the FCC has a file on me. Big Grass Daddy. When you run it all together, which maybe you have to do because that's your handle, that's where the problems start. Big Grass Daddy says, awesome, 100%. Great motivation and inspiring information as always, and then a bunch of emojis. If you're in the green industry and you aren't listening to Brian's podcast, you're missing out, followed by a couple of fire emojis. From TRB Lawn Care, almost every episode you say, today we're going to keep it short, then the podcast is an hour long, but I love it. That way I get more good advice and encouragement for the day. I glean some wisdom out of every podcast, whether it's wisdom on how to grow my lawn care business or just for everyday life. The best podcast, in my opinion, is Paying the Full Price for Success. With my encyclopedic knowledge, I'm going to say that's around 170, maybe 169. Definitely a winner. Check that out. TRB Lawn Care goes on to say, I've listened to it twice now. Keep up the good content and keep making a difference in people's lives.
Want us to read your review next? Let us know how we're doing, and we might just read your review on next week's show.
You know the name, Equipment Defender. Now experience the safety and security for your lawn care setup with Equipment Defender trailer racks. These lockable trailer racks are designed to keep your equipment organized and secure without breaking the bank. Upgrade your setup and protect your investment with trailer racks that fit any style of trailer, both utility or enclosed. These E-coated racks are built tough to withstand the elements, all while working hard to keep your equipment safe and secure. Put an end to unnecessary equipment damage and theft today by investing in quality trailer racks that you can rely on. Use the promo code BRIANS10 to save 10% on all orders today at equipmentdefender.com, and a link is provided in the show description. Equipment Defender.
Hey guys, Paul Jameson here, the author of Cut That Grass and Make That Cash. You're not listening to no raggedy podcast. You're listening to a great podcast. It's all about lawns, lessons, and life. It's the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
I don't know. I just have this really cool like out of body experience right now. I'm really, really excited for you. Genuinely excited for you.
I appreciate it. I don't know if you remember, but 2019, well, I think, what was it? Is it Black Rock? Is that the restaurant?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember Black Rock. So we actually went to Weingart's first night and went down to Black Rock after Weingart's because we wanted to see everything and just kind of had the experience on the first time we were there. And so we go to Black Rock, and Chloe and I are sitting off to the side. We saw everybody kind of slowly piling into the back room there. And believe it or not, it was first night, and I know you remember this, but people that weren't there probably don't know. But the first night, I mean, that room was packed. I mean, I think there were actually people standing and eating with the like hot break trying to cut, in their hand. And you're like, dude, there's like, what? It's good. And I mean, there was a lot of people in there. But
it only sat like 75 or 80 people on the balcony or the patio.
I think we stuffed like 150. Maybe not 100, but like about a pretty damn close to 100.
At least 100. Yeah, it was elbows to elbows, and this was 2019, back when you were actually allowed to eat with people and not wear masks. Blah blah blah. You guys know what I'm saying. So that was a good time. That was a real. You want a little sneak peek here, a little teaser. I don't know when this episode's coming out, but do you want to hear what we're doing for 2020 Launchpreneur Academy? Like really quick, if you got it. Okay, secret between me and you, right? Don't let the other 5,000 people that listen to this week know. But
I got you.
So Friday in 2019, Black Rock was awesome, right? We had food, fellowship, fun, all got to hang out. And then Saturday is the live event that we do, which Launchpreneur Academy Live. We bring in a lot of guest speakers. We're trying to teach you guys how to grow the business, run the business, get out of your own way, all these different things. It's different than GIE Expo. It's different than a trade show. Trade shows are not designed to help you succeed and to grow and to double your revenue or increase your business or have better relationships. It's a trade show. So we noticed a need out there. We said, let's do something different where we get peer-to-peer led training, and it's a live event that we throw on in November. Tickets will go on sale in a couple weeks here, probably end of June, first part of July. So last year was 2020, and we couldn't gather Friday night because of the Rona, right? So no restaurants were open. There was no patios. We couldn't really do like a banquet thing, get food catered in and all that mess. It was just logistically too much going on. Well, this year we're finalizing plans right now on Friday night, we're renting out a go-kart track on Friday night. There's going to be 300 to 500 people there. It's going to be incredible, and it's the largest like indoor go-kart track like in the area by far. So we're going to do hot laps, time trials. We'll be giving away prizes. There'll be food. That's going to be most likely the Friday night kind of entertainment, so we can all get to know each other more, Friday night before the event on Saturday. That way, some of you guys coming in, you've been to the first two events and it's been a banger. But some of you guys are coming in and you've never been to this thing. Well, now you get to make some friends, and then you can look for those people on Saturday morning, sit together during the whole event, make friends, build relationships. That's what it's all about. So, if you like Black Rock on Friday night, dude, imagine having 300 to 500 people in for an indoor go-kart track and virtual reality rooms and all this other mess. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So I'm like already excited about it. I don't want to spill the beans, but that's what we're looking to do Friday night. I don't know. Any feedback? What do you think?
Dude, I'm already challenging you to a raise. What do you mean?
we're ready to rock and roll, But hey, that's a secret.
Heck yeah.
That's a secret. So don't tell anybody who's listening to the podcast right now. Okay, it's just me and you. Okay.
I got you. All
right, I love it.
But no, to kind of expand where you were going with the making of friendships. I don't know if you remember, but in 2019, when we went to Black Rock, Chloe and I, like I said, were sitting alone, and across the side of the room was now actually my best friends, Aaron, Jamie, Matt, and Ruth. Mm-hmm. And Aaron had saw us at Weingart's earlier in the day, came over and said, "Hey, we saw you guys at Weingart's. Do you want to come over and sit with us?" And from there, that just kind of blossomed a family type friendship. We all have group chats. The girls are in a group chat. The guys are in a group chat. Aaron and Matt and I, we chat every single day about things going on in the business, things that we can change, things that we want to do, just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other and all sorts of stuff. We're sharing pricing things.
Amen.
Aaron is hiring employees and teaching us things he has learned so that as we hire, we can kind of take the tips from him and pass them on and help others as well as our small little group that we have. And it's not just them. I mean, I met last year probably another 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you remember, but Sammy Ruiz, when he came into the
Mulchmate.
What was it? The meet and greet the night before.
Oh, okay.
At LEL.
Okay. Yep.
He was coming up the elevator and he belches my name so loud. I'm like, dude, that echoed really bad. And I went red. I'm like, holy crap. Like me.
Well, thankfully,
just some guy out of Maryland.
Well, thankfully there was nobody else at the whole complex besides us. We're 300 people deep, like just we're all the weirdos, that,
exactly.
I'm not even gonna get into it, but we all had enough belief and faith that, we could have a successful meeting and, nobody's gonna die. Okay. It was shocking turn of events. 300 people were there, for 3 days basically. And, not one, case or outbreak or anything. So funny how that works out. But everybody else that year, could live, the rest of their life in fear, and that's fine. But for us, we're going to have faith over fear. So anyway,
exactly.
So if you screamed bloody murder at that hotel or the conference center, nobody cared because we were the only group there. And I said, but I also said, hey guys, respectfully, please be on your best behavior. We had security all over the place that I hired, private security. I said, be on your best behavior though too, because if somebody acts a fool, well, then they're going to know it was our group. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
So we threw down for a couple, quite a few $100 actually for some private security that Friday, Saturday, just to make sure you guys were safe and just to make sure that no knuckleheads wanted to try to jump into the event, any which way. Hey, look, we're already at 36 minutes on the hot mic. I wanted to do just a quick half hour with you because I got to get running. I know you do as well. Quick little practical takeaways or any quick tips that you want to leave these guys, but we'll get you back on the show for sure. Somehow you and I always get to talk and I'm like, dude, this is good podcasting conversation. Let's get it on the mic. So I know you'll be back on the show here in a couple months, if not sooner. So anything you want to leave these guys while we got you really quick? Any other things that you're excited about?
I prepared for this. So it's actually funny. I was.
How many more bullets?
I think it was like last.
How many more bullet points you got?
Well, let's see. I got a book over here somewhere.
Oh my God.
No, so I was actually thinking about this last Thursday because we were going to try getting a podcast, and you're like, dude, it's date night. I'm like, you're right.
Thursday night,
let's not get you in trouble.
Yep. Thursday night.
And it's funny because I followed the stories, and even I forgot. So
it's all good.
But I was on my last property. I'm going back and forth on my stripes, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, wait a minute. And this is one thing I would love to talk about. So, my quick little thing, and this actually goes for myself, because I know I am guilty of it, and Chloe calls me out on it all the time. I have friends that call me out on it. But the biggest thing that I have found to be a hindrance on myself is you can't please everyone.
That's good. What do you mean?
And okay, so my biggest thing is I always try to please everyone in every little way possible. And say there's time where, you mess up on a job, or say you mess up on, you miss an edge or something like that. Respectively, I'm going to go out and I'm going to trim it up, right? Get it cleaned up, all good. Well, I tend to have a problem, and I did this a couple weeks ago, and I know I did it. And as soon as I did it, I told Nick about it, and he's like, "You bonehead, you should have done X." And I know exactly what I should have done. Mm-hmm. So I was on the job site, and we're going through the job, and I had to take. Unfortunately, it was one of those weird elevation where it's in like this weird valley. So I can't get a mower down there. I can't get a wheelbarrow down there. The only way to get down is go down by steps or a terrace. So I'm like, crap. So we had to get rock down to this little area for drainage.
Okay.
And, we're putting them in shovels and we're carrying a rock down. I mean, it was heavy. It was a pain in the butt and it did not feel good. So we're taking the rock down and, she asked, oh, hey, can you do X? Can you do Y? Can you do X? And immediately I should have stopped and created a change order.
Okay.
And said, look, this is, a change of the contract. We need to fix it because we were planting some plants. She had a couple of things, and then she ended up wanting us to haul the bags of stuff away because she's like, oh, well, I don't want to have, be charged the hauling fee. I can just get the bags and we'll put everything in bags and put it out on the curb. Like, sure thing, no problem. But we had about 4 times more cleanup because apparently she wanted to throw a crap ton more stuff in there. And from what she said, she's like, I want to leave, the natural stuff in the garden beds, let it decay. It's good for the plants, da, 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 da. Well, she apparently blew out all the garden beds. She blew everything out. She cleaned everything out. That way it's just a garden bed, no weeds, no nothing, just the plants. So that should have caused another change order. I should have had charged for extra time and this and that. And I never did.
Mm-hmm.
And only reason I did it is because I didn't want a bad review from the client because she is a reputable realtor in the area.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, oh, that's a bit of a dichotomy. I don't know what, how do I keep her happy? How do I still make a profit? Da, 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 da. So I need to learn when to turn the switch of being Kyle off to being a business owner. And being that business owner, you do need to know you're not going to be able to please everyone because you have to be able to make your numbers work in the business.
Sure.
That job, I lost a decent amount of money on. I should have, instead of it being $1,200, it probably should have been closer to $1,800
or more. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm just, it hurt when I did it. I'm like, hey, hindsight's 20/20, but it's a really big thing. As you can tell, I kind of sort of rehearsed this a little bit. But
let me ask you this.
It's just a big thing that stuck to me.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you gain by not pleasing everybody? No right or wrong answer. I'm just curious. If you were mad because you tried to please everybody or make her the most happy without, the tail wagging the dog here, what do you think you gain by not trying to make everybody happy?
So it more or less kind of goes back onto the reviews and how the reviews will reflect on the business. I personally used to be very petrified of having the one person that's really upset at you. And I've had clients where they've been mad at me. I've had clients where they're like, don't even charge me. Otherwise you'll hear from my lawyer. I've had all sorts of stuff go on, and
those are the fun ones.
At the time, oh yeah, that one was a blast. I had the mower chute. It had gotten knocked off, so it was spitting a little bit of grass out the backside of the mower and onto the pool deck. I was blowing up the pool deck, and they had just had the pool cleaned, and a little bit of grass got in the pool, and I couldn't find the skimmer. Oh, that one was fun. Talk about Pasadena diva.
You're not living life yet until somebody said, I'll ruin you. I'll put you out of business. I'll sue you.
Oh, I've had those. I've had those. I love that. I had one in Baltimore. We had trimmed a hedge. It was on our person's side of the fence line. And technically in Baltimore County, if it's on your side of the fence line, you can touch any bit of the hedge or whatever it is that you want.
Right.
And the person's like, I need your business name, your business license, your this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, I need my business name and my name, but that's about all you're getting, bud. And he's like, I'm going to sue you. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Of course you are. Hey, by the way, if you guys are listening to this, de-escalate, right? Do the right thing. Yes, sir. No, sir. Smile and nod. Be nice. Don't be a butt. However, don't let people walk over you either. There's a John Maxwell calls it the velvet covered brick. And it's a good leadership principle. Just Google it. He's got some talks on YouTube about it. So be firm, but be kind. Be kind with people out there. You don't know if they had a bad day and all that fun stuff. If you ever read any book on people skills or dealing with customer service, that stuff happens. But I had a lady, Kyle. She had a pool. It butted up to the backyard of a lawn that I was mowing that also had a backyard, and it's a fenced-in property actually. But they've got a double gate so we can get our zero turn. But then they go figure and installed some arborvitaes like 5 feet back from their back fence. And so we take the mower behind these arborvitaes, and we can only really get the mower in one way. And then we, kind of back it up that 30 feet. Well, I was, we have a chute blocker, like you were just saying, and it was down. But some of the, the clippings, like they just dump out the right side of the deck. And so it went through the fence like 6 inches. And this lady, the neighbor, backyard to my neighbor, she has a pool, and we didn't get anything near the pool by any means, but she came out and was freaking out like a storm. And I mean, like she was, white in her mouth, just screaming, dribbling and drooling all over the place like a pit bull. And I said, I was like, hey, you need to relax and calm down right now. I said, I don't know who you talk to in life like that, but it is not going to work on me. And you go, rah, 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 just like a pit bull, dude. I said, hey, clearly you're not a good listener either. So what you're going to do is you're going to stop talking to me right now that way, or I'm immediately going to leave, and you're going to even have less of a conversation with me and less of an audience to hear you out. Do we understand? And she, so dude, she was just freaking out because we got some grass clippings in her yard. And I said, and so long story short, little side tangent here, but long story short, called my customer, explained the situation. 4 hours later, I get a call from her. She got my number from him, and she called me and left me a voicemail and said, I'm sorry, we're having a graduation party tomorrow. I'm just trying to make the place look perfect and immaculate, and I'm so sorry. Like, please, I've never acted that way. I'm just stressed out. And I'm like, right. So you don't want to chew people out back, because if you just like kill them with kindness, usually if you're in the right, they're going to feel like an idiot and apologize to you a day or a week or a month later, so you don't want to make enemies out there, but again, stand your ground, but you don't have to, stick it to them, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. Funny stories and tangents. I've seen so much crap in life. It's not funny. I'll sue you. I'm like, yeah, okay. I've heard that one a dozen times. By the way, nowadays it's like, I'm going to sue you. Fine. I'll sue you back. Like, now if you want to go to guns, but that wasn't always the case the first 10 years.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Anyway, but I don't know how I got on that tangent. You just get me all fired up, man. So.
Hey, and it's funny because you got me fired up the other day when you were talking to this podcast. I can't remember which number. It was a couple podcasts ago, and you're talking about just not letting the tail wag the dog essentially with your business. And I mean, you were getting into it about kind of same thing with the clients, and
I don't know. What story was I talking?
I don't remember. There was a couple of them in the podcast, but I'm just trying to remember them. I remember the podcast vividly. I was in my truck. I was driving around like, yeah, you go, Brian. You empower yourself. I'm like right there with you. I'm like fist pumping in the truck, and I can't remember it.
Well, okay, so funny story here. If you guys listening all the way through, this is why you listen all the way through on a podcast, because you never know what you're going to get, right? Like, sometimes it's attitude, sometimes it's thought process, sometimes we're just being a butt, And guys, look, I run a real on landscape business just like all of you. So if you're listening to the show, like I'm up here in Michigan, I get half of my stories from real life day-to-day crap that I deal with you guys too. We're not as polished as a green industry podcast. If you want credibility, go over to the Paul Jameson's podcast. For us, we're in the thick of it with you guys. But my long story short, my younger brother, his wife Sarah, so Liz and my wife, or my wife Liz, and then my sister-in-law Sarah, they're very like driver type women, like ladies. They're very like, they'll fight and they'll argue, but they don't like confrontation. So usually, like once we get back in the car, they're like, oh man, like I was going to yell at that dude and I was going to say this, and this. I'm like, okay, well you didn't. And so like, you can't be a tough guy like out in public with all these things you were saying you were going to do. So anyway, I guess my younger brother tells me this funny story because he called me up laughing one day. He's like, I got to tell somebody this story. I don't have anybody to call. I go, well, I said, what up now? So he goes, so Sarah and I were at Trader Joe's, and so Sarah and I, we weren't maybe wearing our mask, and somebody like accosted my brother and my sister-in-law, which by the way, like it's interesting that they do that. But anyway, I'm not sure where accosting came from. So they were bickering back and forth with some other random couple. Who knows? Who cares? Whatever. And the funny thing was, my sister-in-law goes, start being an alpha. And so she screams that, start being an alpha. And so my younger brother's telling me this story because they're back in the car after they, like ashamedly left after like this blurt out came out from my sister-in-law, and my younger brother Adam's like, don't be or be an alpha. And she goes, well, he was being a beta. So like, I thought the best thing to say was like, be an alpha. And so my younger brother is like, That's the best you came up with was being alpha, which is because she thought he was this other guy that was screaming at us was being a beta. And I said, I mean, I guess, but she goes, dang it, how are you and Adam like so like quick on your tongue and like quick wordsmiths with words, and you guys always have these intelligent things to, you know, rebuttal with. And I said, I don't know. I've argued with a lot of people over 15 years. So
you had practice with your brothers when you were young. That's why.
Well, yeah, I'm one of 3 brothers, so we just would fight with each other all day.
Exactly. There's a brotherly rivalry.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like it's feast or famine, bro. Like you got to fend for yourself. And some of you guys that are family,
and it's literally feast or famine. Beat it to the table, and you gotta get some food in your stomach.
Literally, dude. And if you're not getting that like chicken nugget in, like it's gonna, you know, hey, check that out really quick. What's that? Oh, yoink! I get your chicken nuggets, you know. And
there you go.
That's how we grew up, man. But the girls, they grew up like very kind and very thoughtful and very respectful. Boys and guys, we don't always grow up that way. Amen. So just having some fun here. But
I'm gonna stick a fork in your hand if you get that chicken nugget. That's mine now.
Well, all right, guys. Well, hey, we're 50 minutes in. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. If not, hopefully just a little motivation, a little entertainment as you guys are out there cutting the grass and making that cash and probably sweating up a storm just like we are up here in Michigan. And we're in summertime, man, so we're rocking and rolling. But Cal, I think we're gonna button up here, man, just for time's sake. Anything that you want to lead these guys really quick, but I literally just looked at my phone. My guy Rob, I said, "Hey, did you text this one person back?" And he goes, "No, I didn't. Sorry." I said, "Unacceptable, 2 stars." He goes, "I'm sorry, master." He said, "I'm sorry, master." So you guys can lead by leadership, or you guys can lead by fear and intimidation and threat. I'm just kidding, by the way. So, but we're gonna button up right here. But anything you want to lead these guys really quick? But if not, we'll rock and roll out of here, man.
I mean, minus what I just said earlier. I mean, my biggest thing is 100% networking. I will live and die by it. And the people that I've gained to know around the area, like Lyle, Sean Belt, Alex from Oasis, Ben. I mean, everybody around here. I mean, we have gained this amazing community. I mean, Sammy, Sam, all these guys in the Maryland area itself. You know, people call that are, you know, about, I don't know, maybe an hour away from me, and they'll say, "Hey, you do landscaping services?" Yeah, unfortunately, but not in that area. Let me refer you to a friend. You know, and the fact that I say that they're a friend versus, you know, competition, like I don't see it as competition. We have to have an abundance mindset. There's so much work out there, and there's so much work to still be done. You know, do your best work. You know, charge your prices accordingly and network with the people that you can. That way, if you're ever in a bind, you can reach out to them and they can reach out to you, because that's what we do around here. I like it, man. 100%. All right, dude. Well, good words to live by right there. That's a fact. And when I was over there getting the network with all of you guys over in the Baltimore, Maryland, that whole greater area, you guys were so cool, so accommodating, so much hospitality, and I really appreciate Nick opening up his shop too, because that was a busy day. You know, there was a lot going on. So, all right. Well, Kyle Parks, where can they find you if they want to go down the Kyle Parks and Scarlett Landscaping rabbit hole? Where can they find you on social media? Or where you at? Yeah, so we have Facebook, Instagram. There's pretty much the only ones we have. I don't have too much of the TikTok, because, to be honest, I don't get on my phone for TikTok that much. I just get on the phone, listen to music, podcasts, and audiobooks. I dig it. Take a look at Scarlett Oak Landscape for Instagram, Scarlett Oak Landscaping on Facebook. If you guys want to reach out and say, hey, please feel free. I mean, I had a kid the other day, Ashton, I can't remember his last name, but he reached out. He's out at Edgewater, and a great guy. I almost had him do a job for me the other day because my schedule was so booked. But just feel free to reach out. I love talking to people. I mean, you can probably tell, just having fun talking here. Sometimes that don't make sense, but hey, it's all for, you know, part of the fun, right? Right. No, you do a good job on the podcast, man. I always enjoy getting you on the show. And again, you never know what rabbit hole we're going to go down. And, you know, we talk business. Yeah, especially this one. Well, we talk business and life all day. And sometimes it's fun just to cut up a little bit. And, you know, you guys are friends, that you guys that are listening in. Like I know so many of you. I don't come from this top down thing. I'm in the thick with you. Maybe we just have a loud mouth and we're out there out front. But, you know, so many of you guys have been on the show.
we're going to get so many more of you guys on the show, and we just love hearing your guys' stories out there. So, Kyle, thanks for the time, man. And tell Chloe we said hey and hi, and hope you guys are doing well. And I know we were talking before we hit record, you guys got an important date on the calendar coming up in a little over a year, 18 months, and a lot of new, a lot of new things going on for you. A lot of firsts. Chloe's got some firsts, and we're always rooting for you guys, and all of you guys that are listening in. And I don't even know, even if I don't know your name, Liz and I are still pulling for you, because it took us a long time to get our feet, to the ground and just to get our life established. And so just keep making progress, guys, whatever you're doing. And Chloe, Kyle, you guys are great examples out there as well. And we've seen you guys quote unquote grow up a little bit, these last 2-3 years. And it's just been, good getting to know you more and seeing you guys blossom,
Yeah, we love it and we appreciate it. We love you guys so much. You and Liz and everybody in the industry, we really do. And it's not like, oh yeah, I love you kind of thing. It's genuine, It's a great industry, great people, and honestly, it's a family.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, guys. Well, we'll button up right here. We got Kyle Parks. You can follow him on Instagram, Kyle_Parks_30, and then Scarlett Landscaping as well over in the greater Maryland area. So, Kyle, thanks for jumping on the show, brother. We will look forward to catching up with you here on the next one.
Thanks, man.
Man, I thoroughly enjoyed that interview with Kyle. Thank you to Equipment Defender for making today's show possible. Remember to use the Brian's 10 discount code. That link will be in the show notes. Brian was kind enough to send me an email just encouraging me to share with you some of the other podcasts that I work on. Of course, most of you know that I hang out with Paul Jameson here in the Atlanta area and to help him on the Green Industry podcast. The Kid Contractor podcast with Caleb and Brittany was mentioned in the show. I do hope you've subscribed to the LCR Media podcast with the lawn care rookie himself, Naylor Taliaferro. And for any of you who have a YouTube channel, please check out the Video Creators podcast. That features Tim Schmoyer. And although I don't produce or edit the Untrapped podcast with Keith Kalfas, well, I show up on that show quite often. And there's a brand new podcast that has just launched called the Fence Industry Podcast. That features Dan Wheeler, and it's going to cover many of the same small business, entrepreneur topics that you hear on Brian's show. If I can help you guys with any audio or podcast services, DM me at MR Producer USA. That's MR Producer USA on Instagram. And look for a new Fullerton Unfiltered heading your way on Wednesday.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.